We are on the air. Woo! Yeah.
Hey.
Okay. Watch your language now. We're all live. All right, everyone. You know what? We were having so much fun. I forgot to since George and Mandi are new. I'll introduce you. No worries. And then I have a little pause. I'll say, this is the OokTown Podcast. Blah blah blah. We'll introduce Jodie, and then we'll get going on the topics. And it's very free form. If you have any other thoughts or anything, we go all over the place on this show. Cool. Sound good? Any questions?
No. Yeah. I have a question. No, I don't have any questions. You've done one of these before, haven't you, Doug? I've seen it done. That's the important part.
All right, here we go. Aloha, listeners and patrons. This is Stuart Yoshida, host of the OokTown Podcast, where we talk about all things ukulele. Another fantastic show coming up, especially since I'm going to have a couple new guests on. I'll bring in just a second. Before I forget, though, hey, we got Doug Brown. This is your second show back since the National Western Stock Show. Is that right? Yeah, it is.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
nice.
Indeed. We're recovering nicely at the Brown family household, and have had some wonderful ukulele playing since. That it has been very relaxing, except for the blizzard on Wednesday. But
right.
Other than that, and what better excuse to play some ukulele than having a blizzard outside?
Did you guys get to stay home? The kids have a day off. I think they called a snow day, didn't they?
They did, and so Tavy, my daughter, who's just turning 16, was helping out and changed the windshield wipers on my wife's truck. And she went into work, and she has the 4-wheel drive truck and everything. And I got a call and said, yeah, about halfway to work, it was like, whoop, whoop, woo. And the windshield wiper in the blizzard went flying off. For those of you who are not just listening to this, I made the whoop, 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 hand motion.
Yeah,
Uncle Dave knows what I'm talking about. But it went flying off into space, and so I got to drive downtown and with a brand new windshield wiper and fix it for her, because my wife is awesome and I would do anything.
Wow. Yeah, for sure. And that is for sure something that would need to be done on that kind of a day. Wow. Great. Good on you. And great to have you back, of course. So without further ado, though, let's bring on the new guest known as Operalele, aka George Bartel. Oh, see, look, we're having so much fun at the pre-show. I forgot to do this, which I usually do, is like how to pronounce your last name. George Bartel and Amanda Harkett. Is that right?
Wow. It's almost as if we practiced it.
So they are Operalele, broadcasting live from the UK, which is awesome.
Yay.
You guys debuted as an act at Gnuff 2016. Is that right?
So, yeah, that's
so you haven't been an act for that long. I didn't realize
feels
that.
Like ages, but
it feels like ages.
Really does.
But no, not for very long at all. Yeah, 2016. That was the first time that we'd performed more than one song.
Okay,
so it's the first time we performed a set. But I think the first time we performed before that was only about 6 months before that.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, when you have some pedigree with you, because you trained at the Royal Music, what is it called? Royal Music College?
Yeah, I was at the Royal College of Music.
Great.
Right.
Wow.
And Mandi was at
I was at the Central School of Speech and Drama in London.
Okay. So you guys got a lot of background in music and entertainment and all that kind of good. Now, Operalele, it kind of brings to mind, of course, right? Opera. So is that part of the act? Where does that come in?
Yeah.
It was when we first met. We played at an open mic night, and we suddenly realized we were classical singers, and we said, wouldn't it be ridiculous if we put opera and the ukulele together?
Alcohol was involved.
Yeah, a lot of alcohol.
Okay.
And so it came up with this silly idea, and then we tried it out, and suddenly people went, this is amazing. We've not seen anything like this before.
Wow.
And that's so it started on a bit of a silly idea, and then here we are. It's kind of grown at an astounding rate that's kind of surprised both of us.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's a good reason why nobody else is doing it.
But in this case, you might be starting a trend.
Well, possibly. I mean, it's fairly. Yeah. I mean, the ukulele world is quite niche in itself, and I think the opera take within the ukulele world is kind of a niche within a niche. So I think we've I think you carved a space for us with the smallest fan base in history.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you have a big fan base, but the niche itself sounds pretty secure. Yes. So that we're going to have to talk about this more. If I don't bring it up, we're definitely going to talk a little bit more about where you got these ideas and how you're using it. All right. And I'm going to bring back returning guest. We're bringing back Jodie Lee of the Baristas Unfiltered and also Paddle and Strum. She was on. I had to bring her back because, for one thing, Doug wasn't on the show, but now you get to talk with Doug. Jodie, welcome back.
Thanks, Stuart. It's great to see you guys. I got to strum with Doug a couple. Was it like last week, January?
It was the next week after the podcast. I had a Saturday open, and I went up to the Boulder uke group, and we got to strum together up there, and it was awesome.
Great,
it was so fun. Yeah,
yeah. So you joined the Bug group, the Boulder Ukulele?
Listen, I strum anytime I can, much to Gary Ugert's dismay. Yes. He thinks we shouldn't be strumming, but I love to strum and sing with people. So
what? I go to Wait a minute.
Yeah, you know how he is. He wants us all to be finger picking because he thinks that's the most sophisticated use of the ukulele, and he's all about being sophisticated with.
Wow, is that right?
That's true. Wow. He hates on strumming all the time.
Oh, okay. Well.
Yeah.
I get it. I get that, you want to mix in things, right? But I mean, that chunk strum, you got to have it on some of these songs.
Yeah.
We'll straighten out Gary at one of these days.
Someday.
All right. Someday. Hey, I'm going to give a couple shout outs and then we'll get going on the topics. One is to Hope Dunbar. I hope we'll have you on the show next month.
I see what you did there.
Anyway, Hope.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah, I know. And Hope probably goes, yeah, I heard that one before. Anyway, Hope has her own podcast. I mean, I'm thinking this is great. So many people are doing podcasts now. Hers is Prompt Queens. So look her up, or Doug will put a link in our show notes. I'm sure he's looking at that right now. Ben Hassinger. Ben could not make it to the show this month. He is one busy dude. He's getting ready for doing a fundraiser for the Midwest Ukulele. Mighty Uke Day. Wow. He's got so many things going on, like Midwest Uke Camp and Mighty Uke Day. Anyway, he's doing a fundraiser. He's all kinds of busy. So hopefully next month we'll have Ben on. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, Ben, shout out to you. Thanks for doing so much for the ukulele community. I think that's all I had. Doug, did you have any shout outs you want to give?
Well, of course, a big shout out to the, we mentioned Gary, but a shout out to the ukulele orchestra, the Rocky Mountain Ukulele Orchestra. And it's coming up that they're going to do a couple concerts, and I wish them all the best. If you do get a chance to, or if you do want to go and see them, if you're in the Denver area, tickets are going fast. So,
really?
So yes. So make sure to get down and see that, regardless of his views on strumming.
On strumming versus. Wow. Yeah, I didn't realize he was so hardcore about not strumming. Okay.
Oh, he's hardcore.
Yeah,
it's hardcore. I'm telling you.
If you're looking on YouTube, you'll see sort of our flyer that's posted around town. These tickets are going to sell out quickly, so get out there and buy them at ukuleleorchestra.org.
Wow, and it looks like a little bit of a Mickey Mouse organization. Whoa! For those of you who aren't seeing this on there, they have Mickey Mouse. It looks like it's going to be a Disney themed concert.
Is. And let me read to you the small print because it's a hilarious flyer. Gary makes the best flyers. We know it's weird, but please be our guest for so many Disney tunes on too many ukuleles.
Yeah. You can never have too many ukuleles. Right.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Well, when I was putting together my topics, one of the things that came to mind as I was thinking of what to talk about is that how do you come up with an idea of if you're going to we'll start off with performing, but I really think that it's going to apply to a whole bunch of things. And so when Gerald Ross said, "Hey, you should have Operalele on," I said, "Oh wow, yeah, I've heard of them. But that is what is that about?" So I guess in addition to telling us a little bit about how Operalele came to be, I'll have you guys kick it off on how you came to have your style of music. And part of it sounds kind of like serendipity, where you just said, "Hey, you're classically trained," and away you went. So anyway, what are your thoughts here? How'd this happen?
Yeah, well, firstly, thanks to Gerald for pointing you our way, or pointing us your way, because it's Gerald's just such a wonderful guy.
He's amazing,
and a fantastic player. And we've had the pleasure of I think we played a couple of festivals with Gerald.
Yeah.
And in fact, when we played the Czech festival last year, we had Gerald come up and do some jazz soloing over one of our numbers, which was great to do. So I forgot what your question was now. Was it what
you and Doug will get along fine.
No, it was about style. How did we come up with what we do?
Yes.
That what it was? Well, it was. I mean, it was serendipity. I mean, it was. We have this kind of saying that we use to each other, which was, it was never meant to be a thing.
And here we are, like 3 years later.
Yeah, which it wasn't. I mean, it's we never we didn't set out to create an act. We didn't set out really to do anything other than, as I said, as Mandi said earlier, when we met, we just thought it might be, the word we used was ridiculous.
But the thing that comes out from audiences when they speak to us afterwards, the thing that comes across the most is that we're enjoying ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That we're trained in what we do, so we love the music, and we both came to the ukulele just because we wanted to play and enjoy the instrument. And now we've merged sort of the hobby and the thing that we love to do with what we were professionally trained to do. And I think that comes across to an audience if you're just in the moment and you're performing the music, and you're enjoying yourself. It's amazing how much that comes across to the audience, and they say, "Oh, that's kind of become your thing, is that you're having fun while you're doing it."
I think what we need to make clear is that we are very much an act rather than a concert performance.
Yeah.
So although we're singing opera, and we also stray into the ridiculous world of musical theatre, but although the music making side we take very, very seriously,
yes,
when we're on stage we take everything else rather less seriously. And so probably 50% of our act is singing or is performing, is playing music, and 50% is what happens between the songs. So we're often now I suppose referred to as a comedy act.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that was completely accidental.
Yeah, we never set that to be like that, but it happened.
But for some reason,
it happens a lot during our show too, is the accidental.
So yeah, I mean, what you get is not a small version of the Royal Opera House, but hopefully, we inject a certain our own unique humor into what we do, and very much, as I said, we're very much it's an act rather than a concert.
And at the same time, we're making it accessible, because I think a lot of people say opera is like this highbrow art that only some people can enjoy. Well, I go down and watch football at the pub on a Friday night, and I sing opera. So let's all enjoy it together.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So it's this kind of inclusivity. As someone said to me once that they watched our concert and they were like, it felt like we were just all friends chatting around, and suddenly you just went, oh, we'll sing a song, and then suddenly burst out into grand opera, and then we go back to bickering at each other, which is normally what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Well, whoever's, my background in opera has mostly been Bugs Bunny and
What's Opera Doc favorite episode ever?
Kill the wabbit.
Kill the wabbit. Yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah. I think that Jodie and I went to this course or workshop that was put on by Danielle Anderson, aka Daniel Ate the Sandwich, and also Victor and Penny, aka Aaron and Jeff. And part of what they said was really great was, you really are putting on a show, and there's so much more to it than just performing your music. You know what I mean? I mean, that's definitely, you want to have some good content in terms of music, but there's so much more. Jodie, what are your thoughts on that from kind of going back to Wonderstruck?
So I looked at your website, your Operalele website, and they offer workshops that are very similar in theme to what we experienced at Wonderstruck. So maybe you guys want to talk a little bit about the workshops that you offer.
Yeah.
For teaching people how to sing. I've got a couple questions for you about that personally. Okay. But then also, since you are performers and you're educated that way, much like Penny, Aaron, is, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, we workshops kind of started for us as an add-on, which I guess they do for many performers on the festival circuit, and we are very much aware of the fact that we are singers first and foremost, and when we go along to, particularly to ukulele festivals, and when we're on the same bill as people like James Hill or Sarah and Craig, that for us to turn up and say we're going to run a ukulele workshop is well, we've come back to that word ridiculous again, I think. So we've always tried to find things that maybe that we have in our sets that maybe other performers don't have.
Yeah, we're just playing to our strengths essentially.
Yeah. So our workshops, I think we're currently running 4 workshops.
Wow.
And we have the first one we launched was called Singing and Strumming, which is basically we deconstruct how you learn a song, because a lot of clubs and groups, the way that they sing a song for the first time or play a song for the first time is that someone hands out a piece of paper, someone else goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and they all go crashing into it, and
they hope for the best.
And so we kind of deconstruct. We offer people other ways of learning a song, and often the singing is an afterthought. Whereas most ukulele players, not all, but most ukulele players will find themselves doing much more singing than maybe they anticipated when they first picked up a ukulele. And so we had it was really came about because people had asked us after our performances, how do you learn those? Because some of our arrangements are quite complex. Most of our songs are in various foreign languages, and so there are sort of extra complexities, and so that's where that came about. We also do a harmony workshop where we just look at some basic harmonies and how we put the harmonies together, and the group ends up singing in 4-part harmany by the end of the hour. Then we do an opera chorus, opera chorus workshop, which basically we go through and we teach the workshop group to play and sing an opera chorus, and then they come on stage with us during our set and they act as our opera chorus. And
now, what is it? What is the difference between a regular chorus and an opera chorus?
Well, an opera chorus is singing opera. I mean, come on, Stuart.
I know it's obvious in the title, but I had to ask. I'm sorry.
Well, nothing particularly. It's just the style of music that we do. So we choose we choose a song that that people will know. It's the Toreador song from Carmen.
Woo!
And you know, so it's a great one. Was that a cat impression?
I
enjoyed it.
I was actually picador number 3 in Central City's Opera's performance of Carmen. So
what?
Yeah,
what? Get out!
We learned it so much tonight, guys.
It's what's called a super, where they need people to just wander on stage and wander off. And
okay.
And so I actually met my wife at Central City Opera.
No kidding.
Up there.
Cool. Wow. Yeah. And that, you know, she might have thought you were sophisticated, and then
no. She knew right from the beginning that I was not sophisticated. That word that you said.
Okay. Well, you're gonna have to also explain the hat, Hufflepuff.
Oh, that's so. If you're just listening to it, the show, I am wearing a cap this evening or this afternoon that says Hufflepuff on it, and you know, I have to say there was a little bit of a row before we started. But somebody here is a Slytherin, and we're going to let them continue on the program to show our inclusivity. Because that's what the Sorting Hat wants. Okay. Is for everybody to get along.
And what team are you on, Doug? Is this Team Hufflepuff?
Team Hufflepuff, all the way.
Okay, I didn't know that they had that in the. You know, I'm so sorry for the listeners out there, but my Harry Potter. I think I watched the first one, and I have never read the books, so I apologize. Yeah,
I'll forgive you.
I know. Anyway, he's wearing that hat in. Was that in honor of Operalele because you knew they're from the UK? Is that?
Well, it was because my head was cold, but but you know, it's and because Operalele is British, and I was thinking that there might be a connection there. So
and there was. I'm a fellow Hufflepuff. I'm proud.
Now, what is it about Hufflepuff? Because there's some characteristics that
we could go into the characteristics and the faults of a Hufflepuff. We just need to know that they're the best house. That's all you need to know.
Exactly. If any house was going to have an ukulele concert, it would be the Hufflepuff ukulele concert.
No kidding.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Okay. Now we're going to go back to what we were talking about before, which was the workshops, chorus. Yes. Okay, so opera chorus is like any other chorus except you're singing opera. But what does that mean? Yeah. I mean, is it
well, it normally comes with singing in a different language, so we have to kind of talk to them about the wording and talk about how to pronounce it phonetically. But I also like to make sure that the workshop attendees have a translation, so they know what they're singing about, because there's one thing just singing the words and not really knowing the context of the song. So we put it within the context of the opera, so that they're learning part of an opera as well, and learning a bit more about that kind of world separate to the ukulele world, as it were.
Because when you hear all these operas and they're in a different language, you have no idea what the whole story is about.
Sure.
You know,
well, we try and break that down, and also encourage them as well to explore singing with a bigger voice than they might normally do if they're singing Wagon Wheel or or some other more traditional ukulele repertoire. But we do get them playing at the same time, so they're then having to think about the complexities of the breathing, making sure that they're projecting their voices, and also singing along with other people as well.
Right. Well, see, this is the interesting part, because I kind of glommed onto that you know, at these ukulele gatherings, most people come to strum.
Yeah.
And I know Gary Jugert would hate to hear me say that when I just say just to strum, but
but it's not just to strum, is it? It's
not, because
isn't it?
It is, and then a lot of it is singing these songs that everyone enjoys together, right? So this is what's kind of cool, is that you're bringing that other part, which you know, I can't think of too many I would say maybe Sarah Mizell comes to mind. Victoria Vox, obviously.
Yeah.
Danielle. They're very much vocalists, and they're in that kind of musicology kind of study of music thingy.
I don't think musicology or music thingy are the technical terms.
I'm pretty sure thingy is a thing.
Oh, it's definitely a thing.
Totally
definitely
a thing. I'm with that thing.
I'm pretty sure Danielle would back you up on that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, she would.
Yeah, so I like the idea of kind of figuring out how to sing and strum, because that is one of the things that is what I hear a lot of. In particular, how do you strum and sing at the same time? Is that kind of what you guys break down?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's we kind of, as I said, we break down how we go about learning a song, and I think often people don't consider the fact that by singing and playing a ukulele, whether you're strumming it or picking it, whatever you might be doing, you're doing two things which already are pretty complex on their own, but you're doing them at the same time. So it's like that old kind of patting your head and rubbing your tummy type scenario.
If you're just listening, George was trying to pat his head and pat his tummy at the same time.
I think we'll find it was very successful.
You guys are doing great already, because I've been trying to do. How many shows have we been doing already, and I still forget. Because it's mainly audio. Yes, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So we just break it down really, and suggest things like recording the ukulele part so that people can practice the singing part on its own without having to think of it. We also talk about the physical restrictions of wearing a strap or not wearing a strap, and how that can affect your posture, how that can lead on to affect your breathing, which obviously then impacts on your singing. We talk about, obviously, some people will perform sitting down, some people perform standing up. That again has implications. So there's so much about what we do as ukulele players, whether you're sitting in a club with 50 other people strumming, whatever you might be doing, or whether you're up on stage as a soloist. And that kind of our fourth workshop that we run is about performing. We call it demystifying stagecraft, and it's basically it's kind of looking into building your own act, I suppose, thinking about what your onstage persona might be.
Look at this. I must have seen your notes for that, because that's exactly what I'm talking about. So without, you can give talk about as much in the workshop as you want. I think that's really what I'm looking at is, whether or not you become an act, it's not as much as what you do with your music for yourself and for others, right? I don't think, most people out there are thinking, I'm going to go to a workshop and, or maybe they are, but, I'm going to go to a workshop and I'm going to go out and start performing and, go on the ukulele festival circuit, which would be great. I think that'd be great. However, the majority of people aren't probably going to do that. So what are they going to take away? You know what I mean?
Well, that's what but a lot of people will take part in an open mic.
Okay.
Or will so all of the stuff that we talk to, we base the workshop around. Can I say this? A terrible open mic performance.
So what I do is the first bit is I come on stage with my ukulele still in my bag.
Hey, don't give too much away, because we need to be able to sell this.
We need to sell it. Okay. But essentially, I will go on and I will do a performance where I'm doing everything incorrectly, and the participants will have a sheet of paper, and while I'm doing that performance, they're going, what parts are incorrect? What should I do? And there's little things like just apologizing as you go on stage. So many people do it.
Right.
And why should you apologize for being so vulnerable on stage? It's one of the most wonderful things you do, whether you're a performer or you're an amateur, just going up and having a go on an open mic stage. It's very vulnerable and you're letting a lot of people in. And so a lot of people go on, I've only just learnt this yesterday. Sorry about that. Maybe that's us. We're very British. We like to apologise. But We get that a lot. Oh, I've got a bit of a cold, sorry. You know, all of that. We make our excuses before we perform, when really we should be just embracing that moment and being quite proud that we're able to stand up in front of our peers, and especially at ukulele festivals where everyone is trying the same thing on the same instrument. It's a very vulnerable thing, and we just want people to have that, enjoy that moment, because there's such a thrill to it. There's such a wonderful feeling when you're in that room and all the people you've made friends with over the weekend or whatever, who are, you know, they all play the ukulele and they're willing you on. It's the most positive experience you can have, and that feeling of getting off and feeling like you've just bared yourself just for that one song and everyone was listening to you. So we just want to make people have those positive experiences when they're doing their open mic. We don't want to see it as this big daunting experience. It should be thrilling. It should be exciting.
Right. So Jodie, when you were up there, was that the first time you'd performed at the Wonderstruck? Or
actually, I found Doug's Denver ukulele community so welcoming on my very first visit that I just got up there and performed the first time.
Yay!
I had only been playing for like 2 months, and this 12-year-old kid got up and did Riptide, and I was like, oh
wow,
it's that welcoming?
Yeah.
Well, then I'm just going to get up there and sing Landslide, even though I don't have a full island strum yet. I was like, still missing pieces of it. But
how did you feel afterwards, Jodie? How did you feel?
Wonderful.
Yeah,
wonderful. And even to this day, like I made a friend at the bug community. She sat beside me that week, that time you were there, Doug. And she came up and she goes, I think I remember you. You played Landslide like a year ago.
Awesome.
I was like, I totally did. And she goes, you just started playing. I said, yeah. And that's how I introduced myself. I was like, literally picked up an instrument 2 months ago. Don't know what I'm doing, but you seem like nice people.
Great.
That is the whole goal. Yay! Yes. Basically, a while ago, when Denver Uke Community started, it was we had a couple books and we'd play songs out of those books, and it was all pretty set up for just playing out of those books. So I came up with the idea of the first half an hour being 2 and 3 chord songs, so that we'd have something for people who were just starting out, and then a changing songbook every month so that we'd have some variety. And then I was trying to think of, what do you do for the people that are a little bit more advanced? And the idea of doing a solo time where if you're working on something, you have a super supportive crew that are all really happy to hear you play.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
That was kind of how I got everybody on the same boat. And I'm just so happy that it really is one of my favorite parts of the meeting, because we've had so many terrific solos over the years.
Wow,
it's been great.
I think that's.
But I so want to see I want you to come to this Uke Fest. But we've already for 2019, we've already booked up all this Uke Fest.
Well, that's why we do this. It's we're just priming the pump. We'll get them. Yeah, planting the seeds, and I'd like to think some of the things that we've, some of the guests we've had on, are at Denver Uke Fest because we've promoted them. Who knows?
Yeah, because we're the big power behind the Denver Uke.
We're the power.
Right
we're the
here.
power podcasters. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Victoria Box would not. What now?
You can make fun of it all day long, but this podcast is a tremendous asset to the ukulele community.
I agree.
I mean, I listen to it religiously. Every time it comes out, I absorbed it all in the first few months of last year. And Doug, I mean, I have formulated my own jams after your protocols. And Stuart, my personal podcast, is totally following the format of this podcast. You guys are doing great stuff.
Awesome.
I know you like to joke, but you're seriously doing amazing things for ukulele players everywhere. You know it.
I hear that sometimes, but I just don't know. But the thing is, I really was impressed in me is. I mentioned ukulele and forming ukulele groups. Well, and I know that I hopefully I've been a positive impact on a couple other podcasters. Ukulele Abe, and Rose from Ukulele Highway, 2 other podcasts you should check out. And I mean, I think this is what we need, and that's what I want to seed and nurture, because one of these days I'm going to have to retire from this podcasting.
No.
Wait, what are you trying to tell me something?
Yeah.
I think your moment's come, Doug. I hope you're ready to step up.
Oh, no, that's all right. It's like today, what we're going to talk about on the OokTown podcast is robots and
dinosaurs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're still going to have to get Danielle and Molly Lewis back on the show, because that was epic. I don't know how we survived that show. All right.
So I have some questions for Operalele. Do you mind?
Absolutely. No, not at all. Go for it.
The podcast interviewer and me made a list.
Great.
Love it.
I know, right? So the biggest question I have is what's the best opera song for a beginner if I want to try
that's
it?
A good one. That is really good.
Well, I mean, there are lots of operatic songs. You want one with a good chorus. So you want one with a chorus that you don't need to think about too much, because then regardless of what happens before that, then at least you can sing the chorus with gusto. I mean, we often start our sets with Funiculi Funicula by Di Capua, which of course the chorus is yam hoy oppa yam hoy oppa yam hoya funiculi funicula funiculi funicula oppa yam hoya funiculi funicula. It's all noise.
Dang,
it's all noise.
Wow.
It's all just noises. But that's a really good one.
Because we start our set off with that most of the time, and normally by the end we've got half of the audience just not knowing what the actual words are, but they're going they're having a lovely time.
That's an earworm, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's become a bit of a signature tune for us.
Yeah, it was one that I think we did it for about 3 or 4 performances. Our first 3 or 4 performances, that's what we opened our set with each time. And we did about 3 or 4 performances with it, and then went, I'm a bit bored of this song now. Shall we let's swap it out? So we swapped it for something else. And people came up to us at the end and said, "You didn't do Funiculi Funicula."
They weren't happy.
I didn't even know that was from an opera.
Well, strictly speaking, it's not. It is operatic repertoire. It's about a funicular railway. It was written for the opening of a funicular railway. So people who came up to us and said,
kidding.
"Oh, funiculi funicular, it sounds like you're singing about a funicular railway." We are. And it was so it was written for the opening of a funicular railway. So no, strictly speaking, it's not from an opera, but I think we can call it operatic repertoire, because it is often associated with opera singers. And
you sounded very operatic with that singing. It's like suddenly, I mean, this is like where it's really out of bounds, where it's like we emphasize ukulele obviously on this show, but then when you bring in the vocal part of it, it just gets me thinking that maybe I need to work on that a little, because I don't work on it as much.
Yeah, but don't become too good.
We'll be out of a job.
I don't think you have to worry about that.
Okay.
Really.
I don't know whether that answers your question, Jodie. But I mean, there are plenty of operatic songs or operatic repertoire which has a good chorus.
My husband and I, we're going to Italy in a couple weeks, and we're taking my little Kala Waterman with me, because I love to travel with it. It's plastic and it's waterproof. And so we're going to go on a gondola ride in Venice.
Wow.
And I have this vision of singing to my gondolier, because
wait a minute. This is we've got Operalele here.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, let us know when you're there. If you book us some flights, we'll come it's fine. It's no problem at all.
Trio.
And we'll let you know which hotel we'll be. We'll be in the Daniele Hotel, right on the canal. That's perfect.
I think we actually have an extra room. You can just stay with us.
Perfect.
But anyway, so I was telling my husband I wanted to sing O Sole Mio.
Yeah.
And he
is
thought
that a good one?
might be too cheesy.
No way.
I suspect half of the gondoliers in Venice will be singing O Sole Mio. It's one of the songs that we do, and I always make this joke that over in the UK, one of the most popular kind of classic ukulele strum songs is "You Are My Sunshine."
Really? Yeah, which is weird because that's
O Sole Mio means
you are my sunshine.
You are my sunshine. You
really?
are my sunshine.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Obviously to a different tune. Although maybe one gig we'll just sing "You Are My Sunshine." But anyway, perfect. It sounds like it would be good on the football terraces.
Is that how they do? So we're getting so much of British culture here.
Yeah. Sorry, soccer.
All right. It's not the same, right? You're right.
Yeah, anything with a good chorus. But yeah, Sole Mio is a good one because everyone knows it as well. Yeah. It's a popular tune.
See, the first one that comes to mind is, Ride of the Valkyrie for me is,
So that's because you've been watching too many Looney Tunes.
I know.
It always comes back to Bugs Bunny.
Well, it's interesting because we don't do any Wagner, and
no, we don't.
But mainly because we've basically it's always an interesting experience for us to come up with when we try to keep new repertoire coming in all the time, because I mean the ukulele circuit in the UK is, albeit busy, there's lots of repetition, and there are only a certain number of festivals and a certain number of acts to play those festivals, and we found ourselves in ridiculous situations where we've done a ukulele festival up in Scotland, and then the next week we're playing one right down on the south coast of England, and as we're about to leave somewhere next weekend, and they're about to jump in their car and drive for 9 hours, and they're going to see us the following weekend, and so we've always been conscious to try and make sure that we're doing new stuff, so that people aren't seeing the same set day in, day out, week in, week out.
Here's an idea. Why don't you do the Looney Tunes version of that opera?
We could. Do you know, it's really funny, and bear with me. I think it's really funny that, as you mentioned this, now this is purely by chance. I could not have known that you were going to say this, but on the desk next to my computer is this.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah. It has the synopsis of every single Looney Tunes.
Wow. For those of you who can't see this is
sorry, that was terrible, wasn't it?
No, this is what
terrible radio.
No, this is good. What do you have in your hand now?
It's the Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies, a complete illustrated guide to the Warner Brothers cartoons, and it has got it has a synopsis of every single cartoon.
Nice.
That Looney Tunes and Merry Melodies.
Now, did they do a couple operas? Because they did the Barber of Seville, Ride of the Valkyrie. What else did they do in their repertoire there?
Well, hang on.
You can check it out.
Bear with, caller. Bear with.
I don't know how quickly I can find my way through it. It's got them listed at the back by the indexes by character and by the title of each episode. Title index. Wow. So you guys talk amongst yourselves.
All right, we're gonna go back to Jodie. Let's talk a little bit about Wonderstruck. So what do you remember? Okay, first of all, I missed half of the workshop, which was I'm very, very bummed out about. But what do you remember about developing style, your own style in there? What did they talk about? Do you recall?
About developing, I mean, the thing I most took away from Wonderstruck was that everyone's got anxiety about what they're doing. And so the key is to just relax around that and just go do the thing, even if you're feeling like you're going to be bad at it. And that everyone around you really wants you to succeed, which is kind of getting back to what Mandi was saying, that that it is a supportive environment. Especially if it's ukulele players at a workshop or an open mic, like they really want you to do well and they want to help you with whatever you need help with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that's something that you could always share with your listeners is, hey, I'm working on this thing. So if you have an idea for me after the show, that'd be great.
Well, and
but
that's go ahead.
Like, as far as developing your own sense of style, I just let things come to me. I meditate a lot. I'm just an intuitive creature. So I like to just play my ukulele in as many places as I can and just sort of feel like what's resonating with me. So most recently, I got involved in this jam that's at the Elks Club in Boulder on Friday nights.
What?
And so
The Elks Club?
I'm into all kinds of crazy stuff. But these guys, we have a harmonica player. We have a woman who plays a washboard. It percusses that way with chicken shakes and washboard. And we have people who sing, harmonics. And then we have a lot of guitar players, some ukulele players. And so you're getting lots of different layers to the music that way instead of just going to a ukulele jam.
Yeah.
I'm loving that too. So I just like to play in a variety of spaces and kind of figure out where I'm feeling the most like challenged and thrilled and happy.
Yeah. I think some of the things that you mentioned kind of resonated too with me, in that what I find is I'll have an idea and they come to me, who knows where, right? After I take my Metamucil, if you know what I'm talking about. And do they have Metamucil in England?
Are we digressing here more than perhaps we should?
Digesting and digressing.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's but I'll have an idea and I'll try it out. But I'll figure out later on that it wasn't a fully formed idea. However, it just, because it... I'm sorry, Doug. I didn't even look at Doug.
Doug, where's your train whistle? This has gone off the rails. Come on.
He's looking for it. Oh, he has
it.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, I could say that the lodge is the Boulder Elks Lodge 36, and Fridays food is served from 5:30 to 8. And
see, that is the cool thing about the Elks Lodge. They serve food there. Did they?
And it's $6. So cool. It's $6 for dinner. Yeah,
really.
Yes, and they give you glasses of wine and beer for $5 each. And I'm not saying it as a half a glass of wine. I'm saying it's like a full, like about to spill over glass of wine.
Wow.
Okay, give me a day. I'm going to get a flight. I'm coming over.
Every Friday.
The Elks Lodge. This is a throwback. See, I wonder if the Elks Lodges were inspired by the pubs in England, because we don't really have pubs per se. I don't think.
Well, you have Irish pubs.
Yeah,
and that's about it.
Yeah, that's true.
Theme pubs.
Okay. Yeah, we do have we had one here in town called Mulligan's, and unfortunately they recently closed down. The owner apparently was like, this is he had to take care of family and things. So and I digress so much that I lost my train of thought. Blow that whistle again.
You have ideas and you try to explore them and they're not fully formed.
And thank you, Doug. And the next time I'll play the song, like I had this idea of using the song Brandy to illustrate different types of strumming that you can have all in one song. But when I played it, I all of a sudden figured out, everyone knows a song, so not the words per se, but the chorus, right? So I said, hey, why don't you guys help me out on the chorus? That's the first time I tried out that song. And then the next time I go, you know what? That works so well. I'm going to focus in on the chorus. So the next time I performed it, I got the audience involved with the chorus. And then like the third or fourth time I did it, I was like, okay, audience, we're actually going to practice the chorus before the song and you're going to learn it. And it worked awesome. So that, the fourth time it was really great in terms of, I got that song stuck in everyone's head and they're really mad at me now.
Well, that's the goal.
Yeah. It is the goal. How are we doing with the
Me, what? My Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
I've failed. Do you know there's thousands of these things, and with that, I mean, I've just been flicking through on the off chance that I might catch the title, but I don't know. I've got no idea what it would be called.
Let's see if the internet knows. Doug, is anyone out there listening?
I'm sure the internet will know.
I know.
It was.
Oh, it was.
I'm going to keep looking.
Okay,
I don't want to make it look as though I'm rude. I'm reading 50 Shades of Grey or something in the corner, which I'm really not, honestly.
That's where my copy of that went.
Yeah, it's well thumbed.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to take a little break. So thanks so much. We've got some great guests. We've got Operalele on, who's from over in the UK. So it's so great to have you.
And they're awesome.
And they are awesome. And we got Jodie Lee from Baristas Unfiltered. Oh, by the way, Jodie, what's where can we find you? You're on Patreon, right?
I'm on Patreon. I'm also on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube. I'm everywhere. So
we have a link to that in the show notes.
Oh.
Yeah, baristaunfiltered.com is the place to start.
Yeah, and I saw you're on Spotify too. How'd you get on Spotify?
Well, on my hosting site, I'm using Buzzsprout for hosting, and they just have this like quick, just enter the name in 5 spots, and boom, you're listed and everything.
I tried that on where am I on?
Are you on Libsyn or Blueberry?
Libsyn, yeah, I'm on Libsyn, and I thought I got on Spotify. I'm gonna have to try that again to make sure I'm on Spotify. But that's cool, very cool. Operalele, where are you guys playing next?
Next weekend. Yeah, this time next week we will be at the Froome Ukulele Festival.
Okay.
Froome, but it's spelt Frome. Frome.
I kept saying Frome, and I got told.
Yeah, she's for those of you who can't tell, Mandi is very blonde.
Wow!
Don't worry, guys. This is normal. It's fine. I deal with it in my own way.
But yeah, so
this
next
is part of the act.
Well, if only it was.
Yeah, our car journeys are a joy to behold, quite frankly. But Froome next weekend, Froome Ukulele Festival, and then we're playing we're quite excited about this. We're playing a burlesque festival.
A burlesque festival.
Yeah. Are you going to incorporate that into your own act?
Well, I was very keen to try.
And then I decided, no, he needed to keep his clothes on.
Okay, so anyway, but you're playing the Hebden Bridge Burlesque Festival in a few weeks' time.
And of course, that's home of Gnuff, so that's
where
really
Mary
nice.
Agnes lives.
Okay. And
I don't think I don't know whether she's going to be there. I don't know.
She might be. I'm not sure. I hope so. I'm seeing her next week as well.
Oh, there we go.
So.
Yes, well, she's a patron of the show, and she is. Yeah, she was just on the show last month.
Yeah, she was.
Yes,
and we kind of accredit her to kind of helping us make our start. So we're always very grateful and appreciative to her. Yeah,
excellent.
Well, she gave us our big, our kind of big break at Gnuff.
Yeah. Okay.
If we were Jedi, she'd be our Yoda.
Good one.
Small, green, and wrinkly.
No, not like that. Don't be rude.
Okay.
Oh, speaking of things like Patreon, I want to mention folks out there, if you haven't already, consider joining, becoming a patron of the show, of the OokTown Podcast, so we can continue to spread the word of the ukulele all over the place, like some Nutella on, what would you spread Nutella on? Anyway, it's good.
Pancakes.
Anything. And it's so good. That's what we are. And that's what Patreon helps us to do. And we helps support the show, keep the lights on. I take some of the funds, and people who need mics, I get them microphones, so that they can be more professional podcasters, all of that good stuff. So if you have that inkling, the urge, anything, the itch, please become a patron of the show. Go to patreon.com/OokTown, OOKTOWN. We so appreciate it. And if you want to make a one-time donation, you can do that too. Go to OokTown.com/donate. If if that's not in your future, then just tell everyone about the show. Anyone, if you enjoy the show, and write write a review on iTunes if you like the show. Spread the word, especially to your friends. Please let them know, because there's so much good stuff. I hear so often that when people start listening to the show, they learn so much, and they basically binge listen. Now you can binge watch if you want, because we're also on YouTube. All right, so thanks so much. Going back to our wait a minute, Doug, what do you got going there?
Well, we have yesterday we had our drinking songs meeting, which was awesome, and everybody, a good time was had by all.
Yes. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Yeah.
And this month, actually, we have our we meet the 3rd and the 5th Saturday, so there's not always a 5th Saturday. We have not settled on a theme for the 5th for the next
I think it's opera. I'm gonna throw that out.
It's possible.
Okay.
It's out there. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to have enough time if I have to get on a plane and go to the Hebden Bridge Burlesque Festival and get back in time.
Exactly.
Fast enough.
That would be hard. Yeah. Expensive too.
Yeah.
You haven't gotten if you don't have your tickets yet. Wow. All right.
Yeah. By the way, if my wife happens to watch this, some of these images on here, I was doing it for work. I was doing it for the podcast, not just looking up those pictures just willy-nilly. So,
oh, the burlesque. Okay, yeah, all right.
But there is, if you want to get caught looking at these pictures, there is going to be a link to that in the show notes.
All
I'm
right.
glad you suffer for your art, Doug. Well done.
Yes, indeed. If you're just listening to this, we are not showing those images, but
right, because we do read. Yes, we have standards. All right. Not really, but I'm just looking here. I think we covered most of them. Oh, performing tips.
I've got two cartoons. I found two.
Okay. Yes, I think there are. Okay, go for it.
Well, I've got two. There may be more. The first one is entitled "The Rabbit of Seville."
Yes, right. That's the one I was thinking of too, because that's one of the Barber of Seville.
I won't read the whole synopsis, but it's based around the Barber of Seville, and the final scene escalates to his marrying Fudd in a bridal gown and dropping him from the theatre rafters into a cake. And then the other episode is called, of course it is. It's called What's Opera, Doc?
Oh.
And it's all based around Wagner.
That's the Kill the Rabbit.
Yeah.
The Rabbit bit. And it's based around the opera Wabbit-a-Damarung. Translated from the German, meaning Twilight of the Wabbits.
For those purists, I think that was Götterdämmerung.
I think it should have been Götterdämmerung. But anyway,
that
so
is
I found
awesome.
It's all good, clean
Doug,
family fun.
Doug, I think you've got a theme for your next get together here. So just throwing it out there. All right. Well, see, this has been so much fun talking about these things. I think there's so much things that are so I don't know, anxiety inducing happening. I don't know. I look at that, and I look at what's happening in the US and in England and New Zealand. It's just can be really anxiety inducing, I would call it. And I think
that bringing us down.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to mention, but there are those times, and I was speaking of meditating that Jodie mentioned. I do meditate. One of the Zen masters says, which is interesting. He says, "Become an individual unit of happiness," which I think is what the ukulele helps us become. So I want to talk about, what can we do in positive ways. I think obviously performing and making people happy, which is I can tell that's what Operalele does. But I'm also thinking that there's other things that we can do. One of the things I know I've been trying to do is to get more people to talk about it, so that more people play ukulele, because I really believe it's such a great therapeutic thing. I don't know. I'm talking a lot. Let's start with Jodie this time, because just because
I think that ukulele is like it's like the perfect thing for people to pick up to connect with other people in the same room, which is something we all need to be doing actively and mindfully these days, because we are being pulled apart in so many ways, and so many of us are having to step back from others because of their political views that do become personal. So figuring out like a common ground is something that you're having to go out and figure that out yourself these days. And ukulele in a group of people sort of like gets us all focused on one happy thing, and I think it's important in that way. And the way I like to utilize the ukulele to create community is to do introductory lessons, because if a person comes in without a ukulele and has no ukulele knowledge, and then you put the instrument in their hands, teach them 3 simple chords, get them singing, get a group together, like focused on one thing, then they're connecting and they're learning at the same time, and they're filled with that aloha spirit, whether they know it or not.
Right.
And that's the only thing that's going to heal us, is figuring ways to come back together.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well said. And I like the idea of it's a little bit subversive, which I think is one of the themes that, is one of the themes we've been talking about. And I like the idea of the purpose is to use the ukulele to bring people together and connect them. And it happens naturally, but when you have that as part of your intention, I really think that helps to make it happen that way. Even if it's not conscious, I really do believe that unconsciously we can do that. Yeah,
we've had some unconscious ukulele playing at the Denver Uke community, and let me tell you, it sounds better to me when
Yeah, sometimes it does. The other thing that I know sounds hokey, but I threw that out there once to people. I said, one way we're talking about helping heal and through things like that. I said, hey, I said more ukulele, and someone heard me say that, and she started an ukulele group, and I'm like, yay! And so I come by and I do workshops with them, and so you never know. You throw it out there, and things do happen. I wanted to bring in Operalele. I think you guys are you make people. What did you said when you first started, and it happened kind of spontaneously because people suddenly started picking up on what you guys were doing, and they said, "Wow, that's awesome."
Yeah, it was. Yeah, the stories we've had from people who've kind of watched what we do have been wonderful. That a lot of people talk about going to the theatre or going to see a show is like leaving your brain at the door and entering a different world for a bit of time. Like, leave the bad stuff there.
Yeah.
Go in and see a show and just get lost in it.
Is that what you
I get lost in it all of the time.
Well, I was thinking more about leaving your brain at the door.
Yeah, I leave my brain. My brain was gone a long time ago. But what I mean is that people get a moment to just be within the music and enjoy that moment. And
absolutely.
Some people have said to me, "Oh, the ukulele, it's so magical." And I wonder if actually it's not magical, but it's more of a magnet. It seems to draw people to it more than magic, I would say, because I think the magic is in the people.
I don't know about that. People love magic because Doug
is a musician. Did you know Doug was a musician? I mean, a magician. A musician and magician.
It's amazing. I met a girl ever. So yeah.
I like.
Oh, what were we saying? I've got.
We're gonna have to bring Doug over there to England somehow. I don't know. And
we need this to happen.
Right. Yeah.
But I agree that whole idea at the Denver Ute community, one of the things that we try and foster is that and we've been so lucky that because we have several members that are very very vocal politically, and I know that we have a lot of diverse views on subjects, and it's so nice because we don't ever have like the big political blowouts there. Everybody knows that this is a place where we come and we play songs and boop, just can take. And for everybody that's just listening, I mimed taking my brain out of my head. But having that, having an hour every month or 2 hours every month where, you can just come in and chill out and not have to worry about everything that's going on, that you can take some time to go. And not saying that ignoring that is the thing to do, but at least having a space where you can just let it be for just a second.
So, and I think the important word there is community, and I think that's absolutely. Because it really was, I mean, you I don't know whether there are other groups of a single instrument that would use the word community quite so effectively as the ukulele community does. And I think that's what it is. It's the sense of camaraderie. It's the sense of belonging that a lot of people don't find in other places. And I, several years ago, I set up a ukulele group in my village here in Kent. And, there was a lady who moved to the village with her husband, and she moved from the other end of the country. And very soon after she moved, her husband sadly passed away. And she continued coming along to the ukulele group and stayed in the village for another couple of years before then moving away again to be nearer her sons. But as she left, she sent me a really lovely email, but basically saying that the thing that kept her going was the ukulele group. Because she had found herself in a new village. She didn't know anybody. And she came along to the ukulele group in the hopes that it might offer her that sort of community and that friendship group. And it did. It was it's an instant group of friends. I guess in the same way that some people will find in a church or that kind of thing. It's a similar kind of community group, all with similar interests and hopefully similarly minded.
And Doug is
absolutely. So Kent is down in here. For those of you that are just listening, I'm showing where Kent is because I had no idea, and I thought,
if you can keep zooming in.
That's the ocean. Out. Okay. There we go.
This is brilliant radio, isn't it? I mean, I think we've got this.
We're showing a Google map of Kent in England, by the way, for those.
Listening. It says Ashford, and we're pretty close to Ashford, which is kind of pretty much in the middle of Kent.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes. So riveting, but
yes, great. I can hear people. Just absolutely glued to their phones and computers right now,
as they listen to us,
listening to this podcast.
Well, there's that aspect of the community part that I really think is. They've done studies on it, and being socially connected. They show studies that brings better quality of life, helps you live longer, all kinds of good stuff. And it's almost a cliche about the ukulele community. And I guess I don't think about it anymore, but I do think that there is something about ukulele communities that are different. I don't know what it is. Is it because they play music together? I don't know what. I know, having song circles are great communities also, but it seems that the aspect of playing music together has something to do with that forming community.
But also singing as well. Because I run a community choir in where I live in Kent, and
where in Kent?
Hartley.
It's a bit further. It's a bit further up.
Hartley,
up and left.
But it's a little bit further up. And our community choir has been going now for 8 years, and we started it thinking it was just going to happen for 1 year, and we got over 100 people, and we have over.
I'm sorry, how many? Over 100 people?
Yeah,
wow.
in the village, in our little sleepy little village that's not really close to a main town or anything, and we've got about 120 people on the books now, and the amount of people who say to me, "I live for Monday nights. I live for coming to sing for 2.5 hours." And now there's a lot of science that's done that research of the breathing, and having that breathing exercise is actually what you do in yoga and Pilates. It's that kind of regular breathing that helps us kind of get the air to the brain as well. And it's to have that in a controlled environment for, say, a 2-hour amount of time, you're going to feel more alert and aware. So these are things that are happening when you're holding a ukulele as well. So the science of that singing also comes into it as well.
I always, and this one, I'd love to hear a study about it, but there's, to me, the shape of it, because it's so small and that you can fit it so close to your body, and then the vibrations of it. I don't know. It seems that maybe there's something there too, that who knows?
I think
anyway.
the accessibility is a real leveler as well, because I think there's a couple of interesting things that I've always felt about the ukulele community. First thing is, I mean, you don't get many other similar communities where everybody turns up and everybody plays the same instrument. You go to jam sessions and there'll be people there with guitars and harmonicas and bagpipes or whatever they might turn up with, but ukulele is quite unusual, I think, in that respect. But also the fact that you can pick up 3 or 4 chords in an evening, so someone can turn up to a ukulele group as a complete beginner, and by the end of the evening be able to play hundreds of songs. And I think that's the fact that it does level the playing field so much, and that whether you've had experience of playing guitar before, or another instrument, I think becomes less relevant, because all of these people, certainly over in the UK, you get lots of people who their whole lives have wanted to play a musical instrument and maybe haven't had the opportunity, and then they find themselves in retirement, and that's a perfect, they've got the time, then maybe they've got the disposable income, right? I think that's a great asset to the community as well.
Yeah, I think that is common too in the US. There's people who have not picked up a instrument before will pick up the ukulele because it is so easy to pick up and learn. I think that you bring up a good point too, is that you don't have like guitar jams where you get together and they all come to strum the guitar together and sing along. I think it's overwhelming.
I have a friend who's a guitar craft guy, and so you can't say they don't do that at all, because that's part of guitar craft, is there's all these multiple tunings and they all play together, and it's but I think it's it certainly isn't like what we had where you have 50 or 100 or the ukulele jams that we get. But I agree with you. I go to a jam every once in a while where these fantastic musicians, which by the way is a great thing to do, and they're all of them are very been playing music for a long time, and many of them way better than I am. And a lot of things that they emphasize there is improvising. So we'll take turns and we'll improvise, and boy, is that a great way to learn to be spontaneous. Because all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's my turn to do the solo, bloop bloop, and then the next time you want to do a little better than that. But yeah, no, there's definitely different instruments that people get together. And Doug, there's even an oboe festival. Yeah, an oboe fest. Oboe Fest 2019. Woo! Yeah, we don't want that oboe contingent coming back at us again. And then recorders are another one. No. We love recorders. Those guys, boy, we got so much hate mail after some of our recorder sessions that we're now pro everybody.
Right. I'm going to throw James Hill under the bus because I think he really started that whole recorder thing. Anyway, all right. Well, great. These are great ideas. I think that we could go on and on. My last thought on this is that I do think because what ukulele gatherings and communities emphasize is playing together, kind of working together in that aspect. I think part of it is that because it's a relatively quiet instrument, playing the ukulele as a group doesn't overpower the voice. And again, we'll get back to the voice. I think Mandi has a great thing about, if we can bring in more vocalists and teach that simultaneously as part of the group, I think that would be a fantastic thing. Wow. All right. We're going to kind of wind down here. Any other thoughts before we move on that you guys wanted to give? Otherwise,
I think we're doing good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I am going to go on to my last thing, just a little bit of fun. Every year in the United States, we have something called NAMM, which is where, if you're into music and musical instruments, they just, man, it's a smorgasbord. I wish I could go to one. I know that some folks like Aldrin Guerrero that we know and Ben Hassinger was out there, I believe. And maybe even Craig and Sarah were probably up there and Heidi. Oh, which reminds me, is Operalele, you're doing something, a fundraiser and in conjunction with Heidi Swedberg and Daniel Ward and one other person.
Ooh.
Is that right?
Are we?
Oh, the London ukulele.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I don't know if they're going to come out there. Are they going to come out there? Is Heidi and Daniel out there also, or are they doing kind of a simulcast or something?
That's an excellent question. No, I think they're here.
They'll be here performing. Yes.
All right.
When is it? I can't see when it is.
We have a list of our gigs
on
at the
wall.
moment.
Nice.
May 17th of May.
Okay.
London Ukulele Project, I think it's called.
Okay.
And
Yes.
It's going to be raising money to get ukuleles into schools within
Yeah.
London,
Cool.
which I think is a brilliant initiative that we're really proud to be a part of.
Yeah,
so
it's their first. It's their first festival, so I think they're hoping to make it an annual thing. But it's the first one they've done this year.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. We'll say hello to Heidi and Daniel for us. They're regulars on the show here.
Will. I'm very excited to meet them finally.
Yeah, and I get to know all these people during the podcast, and some of them I've never actually met in person.
Yeah,
and it's so great though to create this community. I'm so glad that we started doing these video because I don't know, the interactions are a lot better, wonderful that way. Anyway, getting back to what I was going to talk about, any things, it doesn't have to be new, but any gear that you got that you want to talk about?
Well, do you know what?
Uh-oh.
I had something arrive in the post yesterday.
Okay. What do we have?
For those not having video at the moment, George is about to show a ukulele.
It's so great to have Mandi on.
This is for those of you who are.
Oh, wait a minute! Which is that one? Whoa! First of all, the slotted headstock. I want one of those.
It's a ukulele. It's a ukulele.
Nice, aren't they?
And it's got sort of asymmetric shoulders. It's
yes.
Well, I don't know whether this is a world exclusive, but it's an instrument which was commissioned, or it was designed by Matt Warnes, who runs the World of Ukes shop up in Carlisle in the UK.
Wow!
And he is also the man behind the Uke magazine, which is the the UK
great
Uke magazine.
Okay.
And he had this. This is basically it's an Anui Nui. Is that how we call it?
Anui Nui, yes, that's very good. Ooh, wow!
So it's made.
Is that because you know opera that you could say that so well? That's a Hawaiian word. Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
We're saying it right.
Yeah.
And it's basically he calls it. Well, they call it the light bird, and it's a kind of simplified or less pretty, although I think it is pretty, version of the Moonbird ukulele series that Anui Nui make.
Wow.
But it literally arrived with me yesterday, and it's and I haven't really put it down.
Oh, wow.
Since it arrived. So this is a really cool bit of kit.
Okay.
Which we're pretty pleased with.
Very cool. sounds beautiful.
Mine is arriving soon, so I'm very excited.
Mandy's getting. So this is a tenor one. Yeah, Mandy's getting a concert one as well. So we'll have a matching
Excellent.
pair.
Well, I would go for the tenor. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, me too.
Nice. It's nice.
I'm sure she'll regret it.
Yeah, I think I will. Now I've played this one, I'm like, oh.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, we don't do much gear. We're pretty simple.
Yeah.
You speak for
Mandy's
yourself.
very simple. But
Strap or no strap?
I don't strap.
I do.
Mandy does.
Okay. All right. So yeah.
We like to kind of cover all bases.
All right. Good.
I wear high heels. Mandy wears flats.
All right.
It's
you laugh.
Really?
to make
Oh,
things
I
up.
definitely want to go to.
No wonder they let you into the burlesque show.
Yeah, it's got my name all over it. No, we don't have that much gear. I mean, we use the kind of fanciest thing we use is we have Sennheiser radio mics, sort of head radio mics, because it just gives us a bit more freedom on stage.
And
and they're wireless.
Take away
They're wireless.
mic stands, and
Oh,
we can move about a bit
yeah.
more around stage, and it makes it more of a show, because we realised that the mic stands were kind of getting in the way of our performance.
Yeah.
So now they're gone.
Yeah.
It just gives us a bit more freedom to talk to each other when we're interjecting.
Abuse each other.
Yeah, when we're abusing each other. It just makes it more, and also it brings it to a more theatrical level, which is what we wanted to get to.
And there's nothing like having that capsule right next to your voice, so you can get so much more signal out of that.
Yeah,
and
it makes me feel like me feel like Britney Spears as well. I think with that
in your heels.
In my heels. I mean, it's often said.
You guys are gonna have to watch this and see Mandy's expression as we're saying this. All right. All right, let's pop on over to Jodie. Anything that you wanted to highlight? Because where's your Waterman, by the way? Did you bring that?
It's downstairs.
That's all right. Don't worry.
Sorry.
But yeah, the Waterman's cool.
Yeah, I love that Waterman. And I wanted to tell you that my husband bought a baritone because I saw your note. Is there a real big demand for baritone? Really? And apparently, yes. So my husband started playing that about 3 months ago, and we love the way it sounds when we play. We play a song together, and he's on baritone, and I'm on a concert.
Yeah. That is a good combination because of the tones that the baritone is basically the bottom 4 strings of a guitar, but because of where you're playing, it's almost like you're playing basically the ukulele's like a capo at the 5th fret for the guitar, so really good mix. So I can see that. All right, so cool.
So that's real. That's happening.
It is. All right. Well, good on him. And so he's going to start doing some ukulele. Is he a guitar player already? So he already.
Oh no, he does not sing. He does not play instruments. He is not a performer up until we got stuck in North Carolina trying to run out after a hurricane. We got evacuated from the beach in September.
Wow.
And I stayed with my friend Bug, who is a lifelong musician and instructor. Anyhow, they had a lot of ukuleles in their house, and we were about to lose power at any moment. So then you just act like you already don't have power. So for like 4 days, we were stuck in this house with all these ukuleles, and they don't watch TV like we don't watch TV either. So he just finally got over that hump of I can't do this and became a ukulele player.
So that's what you do.
Nice.
Woo! So you isolate someone in a place where they only have ukuleles available, and that's what you do. I like it.
Play. You will enjoy yourself.
Awesome. All right, Doug, what do you got? Oh, do you have anything else, Jodie, you want to mention?
Well, I would like to put this out there in case someone has cleared this hurdle and can help me with it. I'm trying to come up with a small projector. And by small, I mean I want it, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches wide and maybe an inch or 2 deep, tiny. I want it to fit in a bag easily.
Yeah, they have those.
That will project a 5 foot wide image very clearly for less than $300.
Okay,
and
now you're making it hard.
I know, and it sounds easy, but most of the things I find are $800, and I want something cheap and portable. So I bought one for the jam I just hosted on Thursday, and it's just not bright enough.
Mm-hmm.
So
one of the problems you're
like,
going to have is the lamp housing in that small of a unit to be able to put out the foot candles to be able to get that. Like you can use this really small format projectors to do kind of like personal space kind of projection, but I haven't seen. I'm a professional AV guy, so I haven't seen any of the small format projectors that really can go quite that big.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you find one, let me know.
You brought your question to the right forum. Well,
Yeah,
they have the
good.
laser type of things, but those are so expensive, I think. And you could pop somebody's eye out with that. Anyway, the other thing, the other thing that would be hard is you really have to have a projector screen that's going to reflect the light well, and counting on that, then if you bring the projector screen with you, now you've got this huge projector screen.
Yeah, I'm not willing to do that. It's got to project on a wall.
Yeah.
And so, Doug, maybe you can help me figure out like what's the best option that isn't going to cost $1,000.
I'll look into it, because that is one of the other bonuses of coming on the OokTown podcast.
Yeah, now we're talking. All right, and now let's go over to Doug.
Okay, so the first thing, Uncle Dave and I, my twin brother out in California, had the. He came to me. He's like, I'm a little embarrassed to talk about this, but strap or no strap.
What you were embarrassed?
No, he was embarrassed.
Oh, he was embarrassed.
At some point in every ukulele player's life, you have to have that strap or no strap conversation.
Right.
And so we sat and talked about when it's good to use a strap, which is never, and when you should just pick up your instrument and play it like a regular person. And I don't know if he believed me, but
you're supposed to be a fellow Hufflepuff. I feel personally attacked.
Like, if you've listened to this show, Doug loves the ZZ Top strap, because he has one of those. And he spins his ukulele around. So you're not fooling anyone on the show, Doug.
Well, Stuart sent me a text that said, "Doug, we need more controversy." So no.
Right. Strap or no strap, yeah. Did you have any like cool things? What did you just get recently that was like that gadget? What was it?
The wireless transmitter that
how's that going?
Oh, it's awesome. Well, especially it's a wireless transmitter, but it's got a small enough transmitter that it just folds up and is right on the body of the ukulele, so you can spin it. And if I would have thought about it, I would have brought it. But
you could have showed us this. I want to,
so next month, you really have to watch, because it'll be the unveiling of the ZZ Top ukulele spinning. By the way,
I will describe it as you do it, but it's not going to be as good as when we're watching you do it.
Exactly.
All right, so you got the transmitter. Anything else that's...
Well, and a receiver. So, because just a transmitter, not really doing you much good. But if you have the receiver too, I actually had somebody steal a wireless microphone transmitter, like the handheld thing, but he didn't steal the receiver. So it's like, well, what are you gonna do? Sit and play? Hey, everybody, how are y'all doing? This is worthless, but I stole it anyway.
It's perfect for in front of the bedroom mirror, I think.
Yeah, exactly. You unleash your inner Britney Spears.
Yeah, I just wanted to do a mic drop.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's for.
That's what it's for. Hey, I just thank you. I did just get, and unfortunately it's not handy. I got a string winder. I've been wanting one of those for years.
Those are $2, right?
That's what I got.
It's not like you save up.
Look, I got the one with the dual bearing. It's like, ooh,
how exclusive!
Anyway, it's because and I obviously don't need it because I change my strings about once or twice a year at the most. And I'm embarrassed to say that. But I'm going to be running a mini workshop on changing strings. I don't know. I was the most experienced ukulele player. Anyway, it's a ukulele group at church, and so I said, yeah, I'll do that. But I thought, if I'm going to be changing strings that much, I want something that my wrist isn't going to fall off. So I got that. We'll see how it goes, but it feels super great so far.
Nice.
With the dual bearing on it. Anyone else?
Gold-plated.
Yeah, gold-plated. No, it's rubber coated. Hey, anyone else use those though? You guys, is that passe now, Doug? Anyone?
You know, you got to get as if you're doing it that quick, maybe maybe you should get. Actually, what you should get is the motorized machine heads where it'll automatically tune it for you.
Right.
Okay, so we've recently got ourselves our little tour van. We bought a van.
Wow.
And what we'll do is if we get like the jack and bring the back of the van up, get the ignition going, get it spinning. You attach it. Well, ukulele.
Yeah, that would
really. For those of you who are listening at home, Mandi just did the international sign for winding a ukulele winder with a the back wheel of the tire?
Back wheel of a car.
Yeah.
Or as they say in England, a lorry.
A
lorry, yes.
A lorry.
Hello, I come from England and I like to drink tea.
See, this is the other thing that's very special is when I have people from England with the accents. I love it. I don't know why. It is so good.
I get, people think I'm Hugh Grant the whole time. It's really
for those of you who are watching.
Yeah, you'll see. Hang on, I'll come in for my close-up.
No, stop.
I've got the grey hairs and everything.
Wow. All right. Well, I don't know how well that went over, but that was our segment on new stuff and gadgets. We did get a new ukulele in.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got speaking of new things, I got the new ukulele magazine.
Wow.
It's awesome. It has a lady playing an ukulele, and then pictures of ukulele.
Equal opportunities for all. Then very
exactly.
Cool.
Yeah. We're actually what is this? We're 2 degrees separation from Grace Vanderwall. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
I know this because we know the ukulele teacher John Atkins, who is an expat of the UK. He I don't know if it was the right decision, but he came over to the United States.
Yeah.
So, all right. Hey, I was gonna say, if you know the publisher of Uke magazine in the UK, pass along my information, or if he's willing to be in contact with me, I'd love to have him on.
He would be great to have on the podcast because he also plays in a uke group as well called the League of Ukulele Gentlemen. So he's also on the circuit as well.
Ukulele Gentlemen. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
He has fingers in many pies. So he runs the Uke magazine. He runs the World of Uke shop. They also have ukulele events. Are they called?
Yeah, ukulele events.
Which, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. But they run ukulele events, and then the League of Ukulele Gentlemen as well.
Yeah, so he's a really good person. I think it would be great for him to be on the podcast. So we'll definitely send him your way.
We'll get
Yeah, absolutely. So pass along.
We're doing they've just, in fact, it's just been announced. Next summer, June, July. I think it's end of June, beginning of July. They're organising a river cruise down the river Danube.
Oh, nice.
We've just been announced as one of the acts performing on it, so we're going to be on the Danube for a week.
Very exciting.
Do you have to learn the blue Danube to
well, we're going to have to, really, I think. I don't
it's
think
going to
we'd
have
be
to be
allowed
on
not
the
to.
set list. We can't get away from it.
We did. We when we went to Finland last year, we did learn Finlandia because we kind of felt like we had to. So I think the blue Danube for a cruise on the Danube is
absolutely
is necessary.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. That's
right.
And there will be a link to be able to get more information about that in the show notes.
Nice.
That looks awesome.
All right. Well, we've covered a lot of territory. We actually didn't talk about too many topics, but as usual, we've gone for a while. The reason I'm looking, for those of you who are watching, I'm looking at my clock there. So, I'm going to wrap this up, and it was wonderful to have Operalele on for the first time.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been wonderful listening to the podcasts and kind of being part of it. And now to be part of it is quite lovely.
Stuart's trying to wrap it up.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Now, see, there's Slytherin for you right there.
So I should have said, you're trying to wrap it up.
And so you've got some gigs coming up. Do you have any like albums or anything out yet?
Yeah, we've got a couple of I guess we call them EPs, 8-track CDs, which are well, not 8-track, but there are 8 tracks.
Okay,
yeah, we've got 8 tracks. We have cassettes. We have vinyl. Well, no, vinyl is coming back. No, they're not. They are just CDs.
Okay.
But there are 8 tracks on each CD.
Right.
One of them is opera and classical stuff, and the other one is musical theatre and shows and that kind of stuff. And they're available at our gigs or on our website. We're not any fancier than that.
Okay, good enough. We'll put links in there, and you've got shows coming up. I'm going to try and get this out soon, but I may not get it out in time for your next gig. How about future gigs, like maybe next month?
In the future,
yeah. Well, we're at the Hebden Bridge Burlesque Festival. Scooting up. I think Doug's going to try and be there.
Exactly.
Then we're at Gnuff
in May. Back at Grand Northern.
And then we've got this fantastic, the London Ukulele Project in May as well. And then where are we? Austria at the end of May, and over to Poland at the beginning of June. And then various bits and pieces. We're in Wales later on this year, and yeah, all sorts of things going on. And
we get around quite a lot.
Well, Mandi gets around an awful lot, but and we're also this year we're quite excited because we're doing our first kind of tour. I mean, it's only around the UK, but we've devised a whole Christmas show. And so throughout December, we're going to be touring around the UK and performing that lots. So that's we're excited about that as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, great. Well, hopefully we'll have you back on the show. I'm going to try and coordinate with Mary Agnes and maybe do a simulcast because every year at the Denver Ukulele Festival, we have our podcast there, and it happens. It's going on the same time as Gnuff.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out.
It'd be lovely if that happens. That would be awesome.
Yeah. All right, Jodie, what's going on for you? You still doing well, it's a little cold for paddle and strum, but it's getting warmer.
Yeah, we're still waiting on the water to thaw out, but it's coming. And I've already
ice skating and strum.
Yeah.
Right?
You guys gotta check it out. Jodie has this thing where you do paddle boarding and you learn to play ukulele at the same time, which is awesome.
Amazing.
That's brilliant.
Amazing.
It's so fun. And so we're waiting for everything to thaw out so we can get serious about it. This year, instead of it being Thursday nights, because of the hours of the Union Reservoir up in Longmont, it's going to be Saturdays. So that might make it more available to people. Yeah, we're still trying to figure out the dates, but you can check out the website, paddleandstrum.com, and eventually there'll be a list of dates posted for the 2019 season. But apart from that, I started my own ukulele group in Lafayette, Colorado. So if you want to join that, it's monthly. It's mostly second Thursday nights, but some third Thursday nights. So you'll have to go on the website and check it out.
What's the name of that group?
Well, I'm realizing, like, by making this list, like, I'm doing a lot of performing in the next month. So I think I need to put it up on my personal page, which is jodielee.com. JODIELEE.com. I'll get this out today, probably.
Okay.
But I'm also performing a lot with the a cappella group in Boulder called Face. So on April
very
13th,
good.
yeah, I'll be doing a TEDx performance with them up in Vail.
What?
I know. And then on the 17th, we'll be at the Oriental Theater at 8 p.m. doing a live, like, huge show there. And then I'm, of course, playing with the Rocky Mountain Ukulele Orchestra on May 4th and 7th. So I'll put all of this on my jodielee.com website. Like, I literally am just figuring out, like, real time, this is happening. I'm a performer. Like, a real performer.
Yay!
It'd be good, and it'll make it a lot easier because then we just have to link to your jodielee.com.
Yeah.
All right.
And when you go to jodielee.com, you find all the things I'm doing: the podcasting, the paddle and strum, the ukulele lessons, the vocals, like all the stuff I do. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks. So great to have you back on the show. Thanks for jumping on.
It's my pleasure.
All right. Mr. Doug, you got the 5th Saturday coming up. When is that?
Yes, indeed. It's going to be awesome. And really, that's between that and the Denver Home Show is coming up.
Nice.
I get to do audio for people that like, oh, take this and spray paint, take this piece of garbage and spray paint it blue and paint a bird on it and then put it as a centerpiece. It's a whole weekend of that.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah,
it's it really is. It's a really interesting show full of a lot of DIY people that do give a lot of really terrific information about things you can do to help your house.
My power tools. I love my power tools. I'm gonna get a sawhorse soon. That's what I want.
Nice.
I'm curious. Yeah. All right. If you see any good sawhorses there, or can get me a couple from Comp. Sawhorses, please do. Okay,
I hear you. Well, sawhorse.com. Awesome.
Hey, didn't know that. All right. Well, thanks to everyone who's been on the show. Operalele, Jodie Lee, Doug, guys out there. Remember, patreon.com/OokTown, OOKTOWN. You can donate. You can listen. Listening is really what I'm trying to get to people to do. So if you can, remember to advocate and recommend this podcast for people out there. If you enjoy it, please do. So as we wrap up all our shows on 3, everyone can say aloha. Is everyone up for that?
Absolutely.
We're gonna do it. Oh my gosh. It's so fun.
And this is going to be the first one where we don't do it. So see you guys later. And,
oh no!
Every time when we listen to this podcast in the car, she joins in.
I'm ready.
We're going to do it without you.
All right. Here we go. No, we will do it. Right. Here we go. On 3. 1, 2, 3. All right.
This has been so fun. Thank you guys. Talk to you all later.
All right. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.